Okay, Christina here to listen to some music, and today's music selection is Vivaldi by Curved Air. I definitely know who Vivaldi was, Antonio Vivaldi, classical composer of the Baroque era from Italy, but I don't know Curved Air, the band. I do know that this band started in 1970 and this song came out the next year, 1971. But that is all I know. I am going into this completely blind, so we're just going to dive in. And what exactly are we diving into? I am a professional, classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So we dive into all the little details about this music, how it's composed, the instruments that were used, maybe some music theory, sometimes some instrument demos, and of course, how do we relate to this music? Why do we like it? Or maybe why do we not like it? So again, have no idea what we're headed into here. I do like Vivaldi quite a bit, so maybe I'll like this too. But enough debate. No more delay. Let's listen. Okay. Let's see what all of this Vivaldi stuff is about. Okay, we're climbing up through some chord progressions there. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely a hint of Vivaldi in there. Kind of almost a direct quote from the Four Seasons. Actually, I think it's in the same key. I think it's Winter. Maybe the first movement? First movement. I think it's the first movement of Winter. That's pretty much what it is. It's sort of unmistakable. But then we have the rock and roll in there. We've got the bass and the drums and the violin playing itself. It's not, what am I trying to say? It's really straightforward, almost in a fiddle style, where there is not as much finesse in between each bow stroke. But sometimes that's kind of what it sounds like when you're if you were to stand right in front of someone playing the violin, sometimes that is some of the noise that you would hear. So it could just be like a really dry recording, but I don't know. I just think that it's sort of like Vivaldi almost in a fiddle style, or like a traditional like Celtic or something style. I don't know. It's really nice. It's beautiful. I loved the chord progressions, but very, very much Baroque era. Vivaldi's, Baroque era. So, all right. We just got to keep going. Here we go. This is fun. Okay, we might be heading to the end of this little cadenza here, which is just sort of when the soloist is really on display. If you're playing with a group, the group stops and the soloist just has a little moment to themselves where they play something that's kind of virtuosic, which the Four Seasons is a violin concerto. Concerto is a piece for one person. Well, it can actually be more than one person, but a solo concerto is for one person to play a solo part with a group behind them, accompanying them. And yeah, the entire Four Seasons work is actually a violin solo. So if you see it performed, you'll see the soloist there, and then you'll realize, oh, it's a soloist with accompaniment. And so that's kind of what is happening here, but it's getting a little psychedelic, which I don't mind. Hey, very cool. It's really reminding me of the violin music of Eugene Isai, who was a more contemporary composer. And he actually took Baroque music. I think his most famous one was where he took direct quotes from the E major partita by J.S. Bach and wrote sort of a psychedelic sonata based on that. It kind of sounds like this, and it's kind of awesome. So yeah, we're just gonna keep going. And I also like the echo, and it almost sounds like that when you play that Isai, you almost sound like you're playing like that. All right, let's just keep going. Okay, so there's a lot more of that cadenza left, which means I just stopped in the middle of an instrumental solo, which I try not to do too much, but that was a big solo, sort of a lot to chew in that one, so I don't mind stopping. Wow, that was fantastic. So the violinist here is also fantastic. I wasn't completely convinced at the start of the piece because it was really, like I said, very straightforward and kind of rugged, but I think it was more just dry. But whoever, like if it was the same person, whoever that was, they really started to dive in to their classical violin training because there's just no getting around that cadenza. It can only be played by a professional violinist. I really want to play it. It really does sound a lot like Isai, but it's sort of the Vivaldi version of Isai. I love it. We actually heard a lot of playing up high. We call that sul G. You mean, up high on one of the strings, the G string. And then a really cool slide all the way down to the open string, and then that weird delay, like a reverb delay. That was crazy stuff right there. Awesome, but almost makes you dizzy. Okay. I'll go back and take a look at a few things when we're done here. What the heck are we getting into here, though? I'm going to back it up a little bit. Oh, and we ended on this, on a sort of a harmonic, a false harmonic. It almost didn't sound, like it almost didn't come through, but that's okay. I think that's kind of cool. And then it handed it over. It was sort of distorted. It handed it over to whatever is coming up. I have no idea what to expect. All right, like I said, I'm going to back it up just a little bit. Hear this little transition. Wow. Okay. 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 I am not sure what that instrument was. I was thinking it was guitar. It was another cadenza, I believe, of sorts. For a second, I was starting to think that it was like maybe a cello. It could have been a violin, but it was amped because it sounded like there was a bow being used. And at one point I could hear like the fingers going up and then switching to the next string and the next string and the next string and the next string. But I'm not sure. It could have been a guitar. Whatever it was. Whatever that was. It was all distortion. Like a lot of distortion. Like that was kind of uncomfortable. But what's interesting is that the violin cadenza sort of became more and more uncomfortable as far as classical standards go. It went from the more organized Baroque style and then pushed it into more contemporary styles that really push the boundaries of tonality and chord structure and what an instrument can do. Because, I mean, what else are you going to do as time goes on? You just got to keep pushing the rules, right? Seeing what can be done musically with these instruments. And then it handed it over to this other second instrument that took it from there and was like, you know, hold my beer. I'll show you what distortion is. Wow, that was uncomfortable. That was uncomfortable. But you know what? I kind of like it just for the sake of the discomfort. Okay. Now I think we're back full swing here from the opening. Are we going to get a coda section where everything is mishmashed together and we get a little taste of all of it that we've heard so far? I don't know. Or are we going to get just sort of a grand Vivaldi ending with the little pause before the last note? Well, let's find out, shall we? Okay, we almost got a coda. We heard the little distorted last harmonic note from the violin, and then I almost heard the distorted instrument coming back in, or at least kind of wanting to. But then we actually ended up almost in a classical era moment with those chords at the end. Bum, bum, bum. And you can picture it like down bow, you know, that sort of a retake. That's what we call it. Down bow. This is up, this is down. So the down bow, and then you do a retake and go up and have to do another one for the next chord. That's sort of a Beethoven move, sometimes Mozart, and to end, you know, one of their grand symphonies. And then we ended with a Picardy third, which means you have a piece in a minor key, and then the last note is suddenly a happier major key. So this was interesting, for sure. Oh, there were no lyrics in this. No lyrics. Again, I hear the music first, and then the lyrics, and often I'll get through a song and not even realize until the end that there were no words. I tend to hear words as part of the musical texture sometimes. They just have sort of another layer of meaning in there when you go back. But to me, the music itself also has layers of meaning like that. So, okay. Where in the world do we begin? Well, how about the direct quote? But I need my fiddle. Is the key? No, so, yeah, so for Winter by Vivaldi, I'm trying to think of the key. Yeah, it's F minor. But this little part where it revs up, it starts on a G. So the original, the Vivaldi, is yeah, it's been a while since I played that one. But that's essentially how it goes, and it's sort of the same chord progressions, the same scrubby bow stroke, And you see how it starts more rough here, but then when it goes into the cadenza that this violinist is playing, it's fantastic. All right, so let's move ahead a little bit into that cadenza. Yeah. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic vibrato, fantastic shifting. Yeah. Whew. Okay, and here starts the weird reverb. But let's just go back and hear just this one part here, just to hear some of the virtuosic playing here. There. So just that little shifting, you see how I'm shifting? That. It's a little bit of a slide, but it's faster. So yeah, okay, this violinist, is very, very good. And then playing the double stops. Double stops means two or more notes played at the same time. Okay, yeah, and so this weird delay reverb thing. It's super cool. Okay, but now this is the Isai part. Those are wacky chords. Super cool. And you hear the... Totally. In fact, the entire first part of the Isai is just sort of... it's just all of those notes arpeggiated, basically. Double stops arpeggiated like across all four strings, but they're wacky. And you hear the open E string, you know, that's a really crass sounding string sometimes on the violin, and they're taking advantage of it. You hear that? Open G to the F, yeah. Okay, but now it's a little bit more Baroque right here. So fun. Get a little scrubbier. Yeah, into the strings. Yeah. Not easy. Double stops are hard. You have to get them just precisely in tune. Okay. Nice. So that's up on the G string. Yeah. Oh. Woo! Way up there, right? Okay. Sorry, I need more elbow room in here to play that part. Whew. Just fantastic violinist here. Excellent intonation, bow usage, tone, vibrato, everything. The shifting, it's fabulous. All right, keep going. Nice. Ooh. Little suotasto, which means play over the fingerboard a little bit, get softer. And then what? What? Whoa. Down to the G. I love that. Yeah, it's just an A. So a slide from that A down to the open G string, which is why there's no vibrato on that low note, because you can't vibrato it because it's the open, like, you can't do any vibrato on it. Okay. It's the lowest string. But it's so cool for that little slide. I want to hear that little slide again. Down to it. Yeah. More double stops. Okay. And then that is a harmonic. Probably that one. And then, so it's just that finger on that spot, and you just lightly touch, and it goes, if you play the note for real, it's that note, and it's the same note right where their finger was, and then, and harmonics are usually supposed to be that clear in tone, but the way this person did it, it was a little distorted, but then that handed it off to what's coming next. Do I want to hear what comes next? It was really distorted. What is this? Is it the violin? Or is it a guitar? What is this? Is it pizzicato? Like plucking? I don't know, but we've got a poco accelerando here, which means slowly, bit by bit, get faster and faster. It's very exciting. Your heart racing. I just don't know. I don't know what's going on here. But I kind of love it. So weird. Okay. Whoa. Okay. Okay, and then we get into the heavy distortion. So yeah, super distorted. It is supposed to push the boundaries a little bit. And again, I'm okay with that. Let's move ahead just a little bit just to hear how we get out of this. Wow. Sounds like something in a horror movie. Ooh, right? Let's see, I'm hearing like going up and shifting to the next string and going to the next string and the next string. It's gotta be a guitar, right? I don't know. I just don't know. And then we're back. Yeah, so I'm able to play with that just because it's a quote from Vivaldi, so it finally deviates away from it, but okay. I'm going to back it up there because I want to hear the guitar solo when it comes in. It's crying. It cries. It's beautiful. And then everything is just tumbling and tumbling. But you know what? The violin is there almost in that harsh fiddle rhythm to sort of hold it together. It's like the glue or the mortar that's holding all of this together. Because, you know, it could devolve again into the distortion. But no, it's held together. And there is, I mean, thank goodness we went back to the opening material. Otherwise, it really would have been chaos and it would have been way too uncomfortable. But I can't help but think if Vivaldi were alive today or back in the 70s, you know, and afforded the chance to write for and play on modern day instruments, would he have written something like that crying guitar line? It was very nice. And then the excitement of the drums, that not just a volume crescendo, which means to get louder, but like a rhythmic crescendo. The texture getting bigger and bigger as well. That's one of his moves, and he may have had fun using some of these instruments to recreate that. Yeah. Okay, then the very, very end, we get into a more classical era style of the quartets at the end, and then the surprise Picardy third at the end. Let's hear it again. Oh, there's that little kind of harmonic gesture. Yeah, so there's like a D major arpeggio there. So, but yeah, so that's what I meant by like the down bow gestures like that. Very, very cool. And then ending with the D major chord. Okay, that was Vivaldi by Curved Air. I had no idea what to expect. I was hoping there would be some quotes from Vivaldi, and there definitely was. And there was a virtuosic violinist in here. It takes a lifetime, years, to be able to learn to play the violin like that. And I would like to learn more about who this person is, and more about this band. What in the world? So, what's really neat about it, though, is how they push the boundaries. They implemented classical ideas, but then really, really, really pushed the rules and the boundaries and our perception of comfort versus discomfort. Really, really intriguing ideas here. I love how experimental it is. And so this is now over 50 years ago. It's a little bit timeless. You could believe that it was written today. I do suggest to everyone to go out and listen to Vivaldi's Four Seasons. I can't pick a favorite of the seasons. I like them all. Spring, summer, fantastic. Autumn, beautiful. Winter, just lusciously beautiful. And so that quote from that movement here is really, really great. But then mixed in with all of the experimentation. Oh, this was too much fun. And what the heck was the other instrument? Was it the guitar? Was it the crying guitar, but just super distorted? So if you know, let me know. In fact, like I said, I know nothing about any of this, the band, nothing. And so just let me know everything that you know, because I got a lot to learn here. But hopefully you all learned something along the way with this experience here with me. I thank you for coming along for this little experimental journey. And will this go on my playlist? Yes. Absolutely. In fact, it's not just going to go on my listening playlist, but it will go on my playing playlist. But for now, just remember that you don't have to be perfect, and just be okay. And keep listening.